In this video, I have the honor, pleasure, and privilege of interviewing the world's #1 backgammon player from Japan, Masayuki Mochizuki, also known as Mochy. And here you can see he plays backgammon, he wins trophies with his late friend Falafel Natanzon and his new book, and we'll talk about all those things. Now, for most people, Mochy needs no introduction, but for those not familiar with backgammon, Mochy is a 6-time #1 backgammon giant, 2-time world champion. He's won tournaments in Las Vegas, Monte Carlo, the Nordic Open, UBC twice, the European Championship, Chicago, Texas, Melbourne, Australia, and many more I'm sure I missed. He's the world's only super grandmaster. He's been recently inducted into the United States Backgammon Federation Hall of Fame, recently published a book, Backgammon Master Class with Mark Olson and Alec Barr. He's given seminars around the world, and he is an ambassador to the game of backgammon. Hello and welcome, Mochy.
Hello,
Thank
nice
you.
to see you. And
You-
it's my honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Alex.
My pleasure. I'm delighted to have you. You know, I've been doing some videos, and the interviews that seem to be the most popular ones, and I'm sure this one will be very popular as well. So I like to start, if I may, with a little bit of background biographical information. If you could let the audience know a little bit about you, where you were born and raised, where you went to school, where you've lived, if you're married, you have kids, a regular job, things like that, please.
Oh, sure. So I'm a Japanese, born and raised in Tokyo. And what should I say? I'm 44 years old by now, and I have like 3 kids.
Yeah. And you went to school in Japan?
Yeah, I went to school. Well, actually, I finished high school, then I quit university.
Okay. And you have 3 kids?
I have 3.
That's a lot of work.
That's right.
I have 2 and it's a lot.
Well, actually, 2 and 3 aren't much different. 1 and 2 is a big difference. 0 and 1 is very big difference, of course. But from 2 to 3, it's not that big of a difference actually, because the big one gonna help the younger one. You know what I mean?
Right. Are they close in age?
Yeah, like 4, 8, 12. Actually, 4, 8, 11.
Okay. Yeah, mine are 8 and 2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, very good. So let's talk a little bit about backgammon. Please tell us, how did you first get involved and learn backgammon?
Okay. So I was playing shogi, which is a Japanese version of a chess, and it's quite popular. And I was playing it in high school quite often, like basically every day. You know, I was in the high school club, and our high school is like basically the best high school in shogi championship. So anyway, when I failed entering exam to university, basically, if you want to go to the good university and you failed, what typically people do is that you take like 1 year break and you try again next year. So I was in that year. So I was supposed to study more, not to fail again, right? But I didn't really care about university so much. I was like looking for something else. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, must have something in my life, not just going to the good university and good company and good marriage and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like I was looking for something else, right? And then one day, you know, my friends in the same shogi club brought me this game. hey Mochy, stop playing shogi, which is not interesting. You play backgammon, it's more interesting and fun, right? And this oddly looking board game catch me, and so I was, I really liked it in the beginning, because in shogi, like chess, you cannot really beat the good players, right? If you're a dog, 99% of the time you lose to the guy, yeah. But backgammon, you can beat them. Of course, when I started, I was, big beginner, obviously, but I can still beat them sometimes, right? And also, you play for money. Back then, I played for really small money, maybe like $1 per point. Even $5 per point was like high stakes. And also, I was a university student. Actually, not university student, but I was like, nobody. So I didn't have money. But anyway, that was why I liked the game. And since then, I took backgammon more professionally, like study more and, analyze with jellyfish and reads lots of books and stuff. Then gradually I improved my game.
Very good. I want to talk a little bit more about backgammon, but also would like to know, what are your interests outside of backgammon? Because everyone knows you for backgammon.
Oh, my interest in other than backgammon, I don't know. I don't have a much hobby, but I like to read books, and I like to watch movies, and I like to follow politics, not only in Japan but worldwide. United States, British, UK, Russia, and China, and stuff like that. Because everything is related, of course. Middle East too.
Right. Good. Okay, so maybe a little bit more about backgammon, of course. What are the things that you enjoy most about backgammon?
Me most enjoying backgammon right now, I don't know. I feel like I just like to play games that every game is different. Every games give you a choice. Every game you have to figure out. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're not. I don't know how I put it, but it's like solving a quiz, like solving a puzzle for me.
Right. I saw a recent video you posted on Facebook about the person offering $10 for a coin flip, and then $10 if you win and $10 if you lose, and then they changed it to 10 and 12, and people still said no. I think there's a lot of things you can learn about life from backgammon. What are the things do you think you can learn from backgammon?
After taking a backgammon, I think of things in life more, I would say, mathematically, and statistics and arts based. So I'm not sure if I have a good example, but let's say when you buy an insurance, right? Before you travel, right? The most people buy insurance because they feel like they are protected, right? But for me, I would, at least try to calculate, not calculate, but try to think of likelihood getting robbed, getting injured, being sick, and how much should I pay if that happens, and think of the equity. And of course, buying insurance doesn't really help me because like the odds of happening is so low. And even if it happens, let's say I got robbed and lost my laptop, it costs like $2,000. So why I have to pay, I don't know, $10 for that insurance, because the likelihood of this thing happening is like very, very low. Anyway, so many things in the life can be, treated in this way. And you don't need to suffer by emotion if you could really do that. I don't know. I mean, there are many other things that you can use it in the real life. That things that learn from the backgammon.
Right. It's all about risk and reward.
It's all about risk and reward. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if you play with your kids, but I play with my son, and it teaches him things like discipline, and you can't always win. Even the player in the world doesn't win all the time.
Yeah. That the good things about backgammon is you can learn those things naturally. You know, you don't need to be taught by somebody. You know, you can just feel it. You know, you feel like you're playing great, but you still lose, and you feel like you play shit, you still win. You know.
Yeah. So I think what is it
Oh yeah, okay. One more thing. For example, let's say I win $10,000 in backgammon tournament. You know, maybe in cash game, maybe in tournament. I still think like this. Could I win 12,000? You know, why only 10,000? Maybe I made a mistake. If I were, you know, doing better, maybe I could win 20,000. You know. So things like this, or if you lose 5,000, you might think, oh, I was lucky to lose 5,000. I could lose 7,000. You know what I mean? So in life, you can do that too. You know, you can always find more. You can always think deeper. Like you had like promotion and you got this and you got that. And you might, you know, compare your position with your friends or the same age guy, but you can, you know, see more. You can, maybe I could do more, you know, I shouldn't be satisfied with this position. Maybe I could, you know, work harder or whatever, you know. So, and luckily backgammon, you have extreme gammon. So you can actually measure your strengths, right? So say you're top of the, say you're a top Japanese player, you win national title, your highest rating, and etc. But you can see your real strengths by, you know, playing extreme gammon. Okay, you play 4, and there are like people who play 2, you know, people who play 3.5. So you can see you can improve more. You know what I mean? In the life, it's probably a little bit difficult because sometimes your achievement cannot be really measured. You know, you have to measure by yourself, like happiness. You cannot really compare the happiness, but you can. But things like that, you know, helps your life too. But your point is very it's very important too.
Yeah, that's true. I think, do you know what is the winning chances for a player who plays like a 2 versus a player who plays like an 8, you know, on average in one match? What's the percent? I mean, it's better than 50-50, but it's not close to 100.
No, not at all. I mean, it depends on the length of the match, but usually maybe 66, you know, like a 2-1, maybe 2-8. Yeah, or I don't know, a little bit better than 2-1. Say you're playing 17-point match, maybe 70%. I don't know, but surely you can lose.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I can share my story in Monte Carlo. So I played a guy in the first round, and he played 18, I think, and I played like 3, and I lost.
Yeah.
It was 17-point match, and the game wasn't short. You know, game took maybe like 15 games or something. It could happen. But of course, I don't blame him. You know, he's a beginner. You know, he has all the right to enjoy the game, all the right to play backgammon championship. And I played 3, meaning I made a lot of mistakes too. You know, but also you can see that backgammon had lots of luck. So 3 versus 18 is not hopeless. You know, it looks like a hopeless, but it's.
Well, good. Yeah, and I know recently you were at Monte Carlo. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I think probably the #1 question people are interested when I do interviews with people like you is, what are the things that you've done to improve your game to get to the level that you're at? And what kinds of things do you recommend to other people to improve?
Oh, okay. I am. It's very, very frequently asked questions, but it's very difficult to answer because I have done a lot of things and I wasted a lot of time because some of my method wasn't really effective, But unless you try many stuffs, you don't really know which is effective and which is not, right? But my answer is very boring. You read many books, you read many books, you play backgammon, then you analyze with the bots, and you try to figure out, you try to remember why this position is A, why that position is B, and you might want to remember them by categorizing the errors. Say you make a folder that is, like holding game or pay now or pay later or priming prime cube action and stuff like that. You study them, by category. Also, I always, maybe this is unique to me, but I always put myself into a good environment, a learning environment. Meaning that I always, like when I was 21 years old, I already like best player in Japan or across the top players, right? But back then, Japan is very weak country. Nobody win any tournaments outside of Japan because they are very weak, including myself. So I knew that I couldn't improve my game anymore by staying and playing backgammon in the same club with the same people. So I decided to go to United States. I decided to, travel United States and play different clubs and play different people, meeting professionals. And think of it, when I was 20, which is like 24 years ago, there was the internet, but the website of the internet is, the materials and articles in the internet is much, much smaller. So the best information you could get is still like buying books from United States or reading a newspaper published by, backgammon federations and stuff like that. And basically, if you want to improve your game, you have to go to the club, you have to go to New York, you have to meet people, and you have to learn from them. That's like only way. You cannot watch YouTube. There was no YouTube. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like easy. You can just go to YouTube. There are a bunch of videos of top players playing, so you can learn from them naturally. You don't need to go anywhere. So that's great. But back then, I have to go to United States, so I had no money. So I asked my friends, "Can I borrow money?" So maybe I borrowed like 3,000 or something, and I went to United States. I hitchhiked. I stay in the cheapest hotel, and I went to backgammon club every day. I try to make money, or at least I try to maintain my bankroll so that I don't need to quit my trip. So I was playing a street of New York and playing for $5, $10. They're really tough. Occasionally I meet, professional backgammon player, like Steve Sachs helped me in Los Angeles, for example, and try to improve my game and English. And later on, I decided to visit Denmark and stay there for 3 months and meet a lot of professional Danish players. And then I decided to go to Falafel's house. I decided to go to Francois Tadieu's house, etc., etc. So I always, try to, find the best educational environment. That's maybe unique, and you can do that much easier now in modern days. Nowadays, because if you have a question, if you have you're not sure about the position, you can always post on the Facebook, and like top player is gonna answer you for free. That's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, so I learned that much harder way, by the way.
Yeah. And even before that, it was when there was nothing like that. In the 70s, it was even harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned in Japan, the players were not very strong, but nowadays Japan has very strong players. I mean, I know you, Mochy, Kiko, Hideaki, Kazuki. Those are the ones I can name off the top of my head, and I'm sure you know many more. What do you think is the reason that there are so many strong players in Japan nowadays?
No, one of the reason is that yeah, I could come up with two reasons. One is we have a very good structure that every backgammon, every branch of a backgammon JBS has a league, so that you play league in your local club, and the winner of the league will advance to the grand final, and you play for the title. And the league is very serious and extensive. For example, Tokyo League has usually like 20 people in it, and divided by 7 people, divided by to 3 leagues, and they play 25-point match and play half a year, then go to grand final and etc. So when I was in the final of World Championship for the first time in 2009, I had an experience of playing 25-point match 100 times. And I'm not exaggerating, because if you play 7 matches of, if you play 8 players league of 25-point match 1 year, you play 7 25-point match at least, excluding grand final. If you play grand final, you play even more, right? And I have done that for 10 years. So I was playing like 100 matches of 25-point match before I played the final of Monte Carlo, which was 25-point match back then. So you can learn a lot of experience from the league. And the players in the league are really strong players. Me, Hideaki, Mochy, all the stars are playing the league. So actually, me and Hideaki and Mochy are in a different league because we live in the different parts of Japan. But my point is that we have a good tournament and a league system so that people can naturally train yourself. And the another reason is it's like chicken or egg first, because since you have top players, you can learn from them. You can use them as a role model. You know what I mean? So since I'm here, maybe Kazuki can learn from me. You know what I mean? Since Kazuki is there, maybe Major learn from Kazuki. You know what I mean? The way of thinking, the way of studying, the attitude to the game and stuff. This is very important that you have a role model in your country. You know what I mean? Oh, for example, just imagine that you're in a small country and you're already like top players, say you're 6, but since surroundings is much weaker, you are already top, it's very hard for you to motivate yourself to be even better. And imagine you're in Tokyo, you play 3.5 and you feel miserable because your friends all play like 3.2, right? So, oh my God, I have to study more. That's a huge difference, right? So before I win Las Vegas for the first time as a Japanese, their goal, our goal as a Japanese is win some major tournament in abroad, right? I did that. So now they want to win world championship, right? Then I won world championship. Now every Japanese thinks like, okay, Mochy did win the world championship. I want to win world championship too. I can do that, right? Now I did win twice, and Akiko did win twice. Now they want to win. Okay, I want to win twice. You know what I mean? So the bar is raised like every time we achieve something. So that's 2 major reasons that I can come up with.
You're a very good role model and a very good ambassador as well. No, you said you had these leagues. So what age group are these leagues? Are they for children, adults, everything? And how did they get started in Japan?
Oh, you mean how people start play backgammon?
You said there was a structure where they have leagues in Japan, and that's what made it more popular. How did that begin?
How did that begin? I am not sure. But many major cities in Japan has a club, a weekly meeting or bi-weekly meetings, and they come they play backgammon, and eventually they get interested in playing League, and they start playing League. Also, we have a class for elementary school. We have a tournament for age under 25 years old, so that youth players also compete each other. And we have done a lot of good things in Japan too.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's useful to learn that because all of us want to get more people involved in backgammon. I'm in the United States, and there are a lot of places where they do that. I know, for example, in Denmark, it's very popular, and they have a lot of structures they play all the time, and that's a relatively small country in terms of the population.
Yeah, Denmark is a great example that any country can develop the backgammon. I think they start the biggest hit they had back in maybe 2000 is that, you know, the beer company called Carlsberg.
Yes, Carlsberg.
Yeah. Yes. So they sponsored a backgammon tournament in Denmark, and the idea was this: so every cafe that are interested in backgammon can hold a small satellite in their cafe. Yeah. And the winner of the all the cafes in Denmark, like maybe 100, 200, I don't know how many cafes participated, are given backgammon balls by Carlsberg, and sponsored by Carlsberg. And the winner of the satellites gonna advance to the grand final, and the winner of the grand final go to Monte Carlo. Like 3 winners of the grand final gonna go to Monte Carlo. And basically the fee is very, very small, maybe $10 center, $15 center, like $10 center, I think, and that was like a great hit. The other thing that they did was that they have probably world's biggest team competition. And so they form a team, like maybe 3 to 5 players team, and they play each other like every week or twice a month or something. And they have like 3 divisions, elite league, A league, B league, C league, and stuff. And I think like it's probably bigger than Nordic Open. The final of the team cup played in one place, and they probably together, 150, teams or something, 100 teams or something, 100 times 3 is 300 people. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Yeah. So that's another, thing about a good structure. If you have a good structure that people naturally play and naturally improve their game, that's people gonna study. Eventually you will find strong talents.
Yeah, I think it's great to have the structure. Like in the United States, we have the USBGF.
Yeah.
We have local clubs. I think it's hard to find sponsors like that nowadays, at least for backgammon.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't. If you work hard, you hire an agent to get the sponsorship, I think it's doable. If you just wait, sitting on your office and somebody knocks the door, hey, I want to sponsor you, it's very hard. But you got to go out, find a professional. Backgammon is a very, very major game. Why not?
Yeah. I think it just requires ambition and time and
vision. Yes.
Most of the players like me, I have a regular job, so I don't have time for that. I have a family. But yeah, I think that's a good opportunity for a lot of the places. Like it's very popular in the Middle East. I think in Turkey there's a big population and a lot of people play there, and even in the United States. Yeah, so that's good. I mean, I think nowadays, you mentioned YouTube earlier. Nowadays, with the streaming and the recording of the matches, you can look it up. I think that's increased the popularity a lot because people go watch it on YouTube and see.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned all these satellite tournaments. There was, I believe, someone from Japan who won a satellite tournament and went to Monte Carlo and went pretty deep in the tournament, right?
Yeah, last year we held a satellite, and people can play as little as like $7 to enter.
Yeah.
And if you win it, you can win, free entry, free airfare, free hotel, free everything to Monte Carlo. And the winner of that guy actually made to the final of the second chance. So if he had won that game, then he could be in the final of the final.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he was 2 win away from the world champion, but he lost. But
Yeah,
that's a good story, anyways. I
I
think.
saw his. I think I saw his match against Frank Frigo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
He lost to Mario Cool, by the way.
Oh, Mario Cool.
Mm-hmm. And Mario made it final, but Mario
Mario.
lost
Oh,
one
yeah, that
game.
was the one. Yeah. Okay. And then, so speaking of tournaments, what are the tournaments that you've been to that you've enjoyed, and what kinds of things do you like to do when you go to tournaments? Because a lot of people like to go to tournaments, but for different reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Backgammon is my business. So my perspective is very different to people who Backgammon take as a hobby. For me, Backgammon is a way of making money. So I like a tournament that can have lots of side actions or lots of opportunity to meet a new client, new players. That is a good tournament. So in that sense, for example, New York and Monte Carlo is like great tournament for me. I can meet I can have lots of actions, including Chouette, money game, also including like maybe lessons, or maybe exhibition match. I don't know what it is, but there's so many things, so many opportunities in New York and Monte Carlo. Of course, there are many university people coming to Monte Carlo just for having fun. And some people want to play me, some people want to bet and stuff. So those 2 tournaments are very special. Other than that, I like tournament in Turkey because I like Turkish people. Also, I enjoy sightseeing in Istanbul and Turkey itself. So there are maybe 3 tournaments that I love the most.
Good, good. Okay. So next, I wanted to talk about a few things that are unique to you. One of the things you had mentioned is you were an apprentice to a lot of these other players like Falafel, Tardieu, some of these players. How did you get into, like, Falafel was the #1 player for a long time, and then you were kind of his apprentice learning about him. Tell us about, how you met him and how that all went.
With Falafel,
Yeah.
I don't remember when I met him for the first time, but he was already a legend when I was in New York, and we started to discuss positions, very often we bet each other, he thinks one play is better, I think the other play is better. We bet, check with computer on who is right, get money and stuff like that. Maybe in the beginning, Falafel takes most money. Later, I came back and take back a little, you know what I mean? But it's all fun, he's good people. And then, oh yeah, the biggest one is, so in 2009, early 2009, I went to his apartment in Tel Aviv for 2 weeks. So I stayed in his apartment. We lived together, and we play backgammon every day. And he teaches me a lot because he was a much better player early in 2009. So I and Falafel sit, in the kitchen, and I play Greek gammon. He watches next to me, and he always criticized my play. Mochy, you can't do this. This is a blunder. It's ridiculous. All kinds of strong words. I was really depressed, but he was right. You know what I mean? So I gotta learn. And I appreciate his lesson. Okay, I was idiot because I made this play because Falafel is right. I have to think this way so that I will not make the same mistake in the future. and so on. Then we went to the Backgammon club in Tel Aviv together. We played some cash games. Yeah, and later on in the same year, I won a Monte Carlo. And yeah, of course, I was very lucky. But surely Falafel gave me a great impact winning a world championship.
Yeah, yeah. I've met Falafel before and I played with him. He was great.
Oh, also Falafel is one of a kind, so I was in his apartment and he has literally nothing. Backgammon. He has like one book in entire apartment. Okay, listen to me. I'm telling the truth. Okay, in his apartment, he has maybe one book in the apartment. He has no food in the fridge because he doesn't care about cooking. He always order, And yeah, he has clothes, of course, but he will not laundry. So he hires a maid to do that. No practical things, no plates, no nothing. You know what I mean? Just backgammon. He has a laptop, and he doesn't even have a backgammon board as well, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. So his life is really all about backgammon. And one night, I was sleeping in one room. Then I hear at the middle of the night, I hear some screaming from the kitchen. I was like, what's going on? So I opened the door and I went to the kitchen, and obviously Falafel is playing somebody Grigam for money. And he was complaining to the screen, He's so lucky. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't even understand how lucky he is, like screaming, crying and crying. And I was like, wow. And Falafel don't do that too much, in live games, So, but in online, he cannot hide himself.
I know there are a lot of people that get very emotional
Yeah.
when they play backgammon or a lot of other things. One of the things I respect a lot about you and a lot of the Japanese players is you're always very composed. If you get a good roll or a bad roll, your facial expression is the same thing. And a lot of people have trouble doing that. So how did you develop that skill?
I'm not sure how do I develop that skill. But again, the Japanese mentality and culture thing,
Yeah,
if nobody does that in the club, you will not do it as well. It's like embarrassing if you do that. And
right.
in our club, nobody gonna scream, nobody gonna complain, and nobody cares if you complain, of course. So that's why Japanese will not complain or insult too much, I guess. But every country has a different cultural code, so I wouldn't judge others by doing that.
Right, right. It's a
And
culture.
having emotion is not a bad thing, it sometimes help you to improve your game, because you're so emotionally upset, maybe you study more, maybe you have more incentive, maybe you're encouraged to do more,
Yeah, yeah. I remember one time Falafel told me the difference between a really good player and a great player is basically learning to use the doubling cube well. You can be good at checker play, but once you get good at doubling cube, which is, I think that's, probably my biggest weakness. I think most people are weaker with the doubling cube than the checker play. But he told me that's one of the keys to becoming a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So you were the student of Falafel, and now you're a teacher. I know you teach children a lot. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, I'm not really teaching children that much. I am holding a backgammon summer camp once a year,
Mhm.
where maybe 10, good year we have like 16 children's. Not really children, because the age group could be as small as 13 to as big as 25.
Yeah.
So the age group is like very huge difference. But the idea is we do a summer camp. We rent a summer house. We stay there for 3 nights and play backgammon day and night. And we use computer. We analyze this. We look back errors. And me, Michi, Kazuki, and Meijo went there as an assistant or teacher, and help them to improve. And also this is a great opportunity for young players to know each other. You know what I mean? Because backgammon is still small, so not too many young players play backgammon, and so I'm trying to make an opportunity for them to know each other. Yeah, that's the idea.
Good. Okay, so maybe we can talk about some of the newer things and maybe some of the older things. Like you had mentioned that 2009 was the first time you won the World Championships. Do you have a story you can tell about that experience?
Oh, you're asking World Championship experience in 2009?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lifetime experience, obviously, for me. If I didn't win 2009, my life would be very different, I think. Yeah, I can have a story about this. So the night before the final in 2009, so I'm gonna play final against Lars Troubled, the professional player, very strong, and Lars actually won the world champion 1 year before, so he's gonna win back to back. You know what I mean? So night before the final, it was Saturday night, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about prize money, for example. I think of the importance of the match, and I was pressured, and of course my thoughts going everywhere, like, oh, what's gonna happen if I win? What's gonna happen if I lose? I don't want to lose, I want to win, but maybe I lose, something like that, just nervous,
Right.
Then, like, I was walking around, literally walking around in the room, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then this thought struck to my mind that, hey, this is like, how many people plays final of the World Championship in your lifetime? Not too often, right? You are very lucky to be in the final already, and this is like privilege. You are chosen to play World Championship, and this is like best learning opportunity for you. Maybe once in a lifetime opportunity to learn something, because this could be the last time. You know what I mean? Easily it could be last time, right?
Yeah.
And why don't you think this as your best opportunity to learn something from it, improve your game, or like great experience, not just wondering what's gonna happen, win or lose, not just wondering how important it is. So after that, okay, yeah, I'm very, very privileged to play the final. So why don't you just do your best and see what happens? We know you're gonna make a mistake anyway, right? But at least you should do your best, and otherwise you're gonna regret. You know what I mean? So this thought from nowhere comes to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that's so right. Why don't I just play my best game and see what happens? If I lose, that's fine, because I deserve it. I was playing maybe 3.5 back then, and that means I make a lot of mistakes, right? So don't worry about win or lose, but focus on the best games and see what happens. I mean, naturally, nowadays I think like that, but back then I wasn't. So that helps me a lot. And then I could sleep. And then I didn't play well, but I did my best in the next day and I won it.
You won. That's great. I think that's a great mentality to have in backgammon and in life. Just whatever you do, do your best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was back in 2009, and this year you've had a lot of wonderful achievements. Again, a #1 giant. Uh, you were inducted into the USBGF Hall of Fame, and you published a new book. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us about the being inducted into the USBGF Hall of Fame on the same year as Falafel, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm extremely honored. And I think I'm a first non-American who was inducted to American Backgammon Hall of Fame. And I'm not sure about this, but usually you are inducted much later age. I'm 44, and people are usually chosen maybe 60, like semi-retired. At least they are not in the best age in their career. You know what I mean? It's like natural. It's same as like a baseball Hall of Fame too. You'll be inducted after you retired, right? I don't know in United States, but it's like that in Japan.
Right.
And so from that, I feel like I'm inducted because I was asked to do more. You know what I mean? So I have to contribute more as as non-American, as a what to say, in my golden age, I would say. I'm not retired yet, so I want to achieve more for a return to be inducted as a Hall of Fame.
Right, right. That makes sense, but you certainly achieved a lot. So the other thing this year is you recently published the book Backgammon Masterclass with Mark Olson and Alec Barr. And I actually had the privilege, I think I told you, Alec asked me to do some proofreading. So I had a little bit of an early access to the book, and it's outstanding.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very good book. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the book and how you decided to write this book. I know it started from some seminars and things like that, and why you chose the topics, for example.
Yes. So Backgammon Masterclass is published like 3 months ago, and basically, I and Mark Olsen had a seminar for 2 days in Marbella back in 2020 or 19, I forget. But anyway, so I had 2 seminars, and Mark Olsen had 2 seminars, and like 90 minutes each. And so basically, this book contains that seminar. And those 2 seminars by myself is the best seminars in my entire careers. So I have done lots of different seminars in different countries. I have done maybe 50 seminars, like maybe 25 different seminars. So I have done the same seminar twice in different countries, maybe. But anyway, I have like 25 seminars, as a collection. But then, I chose the 2 best seminars among them. And one is a visualization, the other one is backgammon. And I decided to do it, and I decided to include it in the book. And the 2 of the backgammon is, I think it's very unique, especially I don't think there are no book only focus on backgammon. And also the visualization is also a unique way of my approach to the position. And I think people can learn something from it. And Mark Olsen also provided a unique way to the cube action, which I really like. And so, in my humble opinion, it's worth reading.
Yeah. I know there have been. I watched your seminar on back games from Gibraltar
Mhm.
at least 10 times. And I remember you were saying, yeah, there's no books published about that. Not an entire book, at least not yet. Maybe soon.
Maybe soon by somebody named Alex.
But I think, yours is then, Roberti wrote about 50 pages and Walter Trice about 50 pages in those two books. And in your book, it's over 70 pages. And I think that's the most comprehensive thing about back games. And it's like, nobody really writes about it because it's so infrequent.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
found it interesting.
Yeah, also I chose some scientific way to approach to the game. For example, I always saw the timing can be measured. You know what I mean? So when I learn back game,
Yeah.
older people usually say back game is all about timing. You have to know the timing, but they didn't tell me what the timing is, And if I ask the timing, oh, you have to learn from the experience, okay? And I was like, oh my God, what can I say? I have no experience, right? And so people are intimidated. It's like if you are talented, you can play backgammon. If you're not talented, you cannot play backgammon. And it's not so. You can actually measure the timing by scientific way, which is a pip count. Of course, it's limited, but it's a really nice base to start with.
Yes, I remember the parabolic curve with the pip count going low and then
Yeah.
going up. There's a gray area you don't want to be in, and then a good area that you do want to be in, and you actually quantified that, which is good. I think a lot of people don't understand those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So
I mean, back game is really broad topic. So actually 70 pages is nothing. But it's a good starting base, I would say. So you can have like basic understanding of the back game. Then you can enjoy, back game and learn from them by, tackling one by one.
yeah, I think, as you know, like some of the things I've been doing and studying is looking at things much more in a technical and mathematical and scientific way, which is a little difficult for people to read, but I think it's good. I learned.
Yeah. Actually, your background right now is a back game.
You know that. Okay, so let me move out of the way.
Oh my God, 6-5 leaving like triple shot or quarter ball shot.
Yeah.
Oh, triple shot. Okay.
Yeah.
Double pass already.
So I don't like. I got this. I put it. There's this place where you can make a custom T-shirt, and I got that on a T-shirt. So I have the T-shirt with that on it. You might be able to see it in some of my videos. Anyway, I think the last thing I wanted to do is go through a few positions with you to learn a little bit. And they're from, well, 4 positions. 2 of them are from your book and 2 of them are from the variants. So let me share this screen again. And can you see this position now?
Yeah.
Okay.
4-2-5-5-5-1.
Right. So this is a position from your book, and you're right. Blue opened with a 4-2, then white opened with double 5, and now blue has a 5-1. And maybe you can explain how people should be thinking about what to do on this.
Oh, well, this needs entire book, but okay. I admit this is from my book, Master Class. So I explain it in the book, but basically, black rolled 4-2 in the first roll and white response with double 5. Now black rolled 5-1. And typically, when your opponent rolled double 5 in the response, his structure will gonna be a blitzing structure, meaning that he will probably not gonna prime you. very unlikely that he's going to prime you. Since he's not gonna prime you, then you do not need to split your anchor, because if he's not gonna prime you, why you wanna split? If you split, it simply gives him chance to attack. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Why cannot white prime you? It's because his checkers is misplaced. He has 5 checkers on the 6 points. He already made 3 points, and he has a gap on the 5 and 4 and 7. So his structure is very difficult to fill up all those points and prime you. That's why he's unlikely to prime you. Since then, you don't want to split, and you gotta go for your own prime by playing 13-8 and 6-5.
Right. You really want to split early in the game if you're trying to escape a prime, and here it's not the case. So good. Let me show you. So this is the analysis. Of course, that's correct. You should split. So this is the correct play. You know how to play it, and the resulting position would be like this.
Yeah, as you know that in my book, I categorize a position into, I not categorize, but I build a position in 2 ways. One is blitzing structure, the other way is priming structure, and I categorize them if it's blitzing structure or priming structure, and I make a play according to the structure. And in this position, I categorize white as a blitzing structure, and I categorize black as a priming structure. And I make priming play because I have priming position, and I'm not gonna split because this is against a blitzing structure. It simply gives him a chance to attack you. Like if you split here, white's gonna have like 4-1 double hit, 6-4 pointing on, double 6 is double 4 is like crushing, double 5 is crushing, and so on.
Right. I think I learned a lot about that, and I think it's good in terms of a generalization, but sometimes I see, like on these forums, people kind of overgeneralize that, and they only look at one aspect, whereas there may be something else going on in the board. Of course, in the second or third roll, there's not a lot going on, but sometimes they may be missing something. For example, let's say, white responded with a double 4. White would make the 5 point, which is somewhat of a priming structure too, but also a blitzing structure with 10 checkers in the zone. So it's not always one or the other. So
yeah, one of the things that I really like backgammon is there's no one rule that you can use, everywhere. You always find exception. You always have to figure out by your own brain. You know what I mean? People likes to make a rule, and people likes to follow them blindly, but it doesn't work like that. That's the beauty of the game, actually. It's if you can just memorize the rules and just apply it, and that's not interesting, right?
Yeah, I think one of the best piece of advice that I've ever learned in backgammon was a very simple statement, but a friend told me, look at the entire board, because it's not just one thing here or there, but you have to look at the entire position. And when you do that for every position, you can learn a lot. So this is the contrasting position where blue opened with a 4-2, and now white made the 3 point with a 5-3 with only 8 checkers in the zone, and these two are still on the midpoint, and now blue has the same 5-1.
Nice position. It looks the same.
Looks very similar, doesn't it?
Yeah. But the biggest difference is now white has only 8 checkers in the zone, and he has like 5 checkers on the midpoint. So yeah, white is not really committing blitzing play yet. I guess the split is the best play here.
Yeah, because I mean, this is, I would say, like, this is neither priming nor blitzing. Yeah. So yeah, of course, now the splitting is okay. You want to kind of avoid splitting when they have too many checkers in the zone, and this is what it looks like, and the resulting position, you're not susceptible to as much attack, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is like this, it's actually a blunder here.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently small changes can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So we'll do one more position and one more variant, also from your book, the other chapter, and the back game. So now this is the back game. White is playing a 2-3 back game with the checker on the bar, and
Yeah.
blue has a 5-4 to play. And this is a money game. White owns the cube on 2.
Yeah.
So
Well, again, this is from my book, the chapter Back Game. And this is actually not proper, just explain this position, because you have to read, chapter before and before to understand this. But let's try to explain just this, okay? So the best play here is, I believe, 18-13 hit. So hit the blot on the midpoint, and 5-1 breaking inner board. It looks crazy, but the whole idea is that if you don't do that, and let's say if you just hit and run, then white has a great timing as a 2-3 back game. So by splitting it, you try to be hit to get hit and gain timing. Especially black wants white to roll an ace, not really a 5, but especially if you roll ace, then you can gain 24 pips. I mean, gain or lose. Actually, you want to be down in the race because the timing. So you want to be hit ace point, then you can remake the 5 point from the bar. Say he rolls ace 4, whatever, then you roll like 3, 6 from the bar. Now you enter 3 and 6, recover the 5 point. You could do that. You could probably see more. Let's say you have a spare on the 6 point or 5 point, and you use that spare to the ace point and try to be hit. And this is like extreme case of trying to be hit by splitting an inner board. And this is a rare, but it's actually happening. And if you play many back games, plays like this is not too rare to find it.
yeah, this is like what I call the pseudo banana split almost, because you're doing that. So this was the position again, and I find a really good way of learning is to compare a position with a variant where you change the position somewhat to see what happens. So this is the original position, and now in the variant, these checkers have been moved here. So now white has a 3-point board, and it's the same roll, it's the 5-4. So how do you play this one?
Okay, I didn't I don't know. This is a new position created by you.
Yeah.
But since white has stronger board, maybe the same play 18-13 5-1 is too dangerous. Now white has a real chance to hit 5 or ace and going forward. So so I will not play 18-13 5-1, that's for sure. But then I'm not sure what's the best play here. Do I just hit and go to the 9 or something, or I don't even hit? Let's see. 4. I don't hit, and I could go 18-9, 18-14, 15-10 or something without hit. So he will enter. He might clock a little bit. Okay, this is a really hard one.
Yeah, this is a hard one. I think you can hit and try to kind of bust his timing, and this is kind of a builder maybe for later to make the board or make a prime here. It looks like There are a lot of plays that are close,
Oh,
like 18 hitting and doing something else without breaking the board.
mhm.
These are all good, but is there 5-1? Now it's a
That's
blunder.
a blunder.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So 18, 13, 11, 7. So black gonna hit, then 11, 7 means when he rolls a 6 next time, he wants to play 7, 1 and try to be hit again, but a safer way, not
right,
crazy way.
right, right.
Okay, over the board, I might try 18, 14, 15, 10 or something,
Yeah,
which is almost blunder. Okay. Okay. Yeah, but at least it wins most games almost. 18, 14, 11, 6 wins more games. Okay. Mhm.
yeah. I think one of the things I've learned, and I say the three most important things in a back game are timing, timing, and timing.
Yeah, okay.
So, you want to kind of break their timing. And this one, I remember I read in Walter Trice's book, is that this prime creates a wedge between the two halves of White's army. So they're split and they're disconnected. You want to keep these back and force the rest of it to crack before you give up the prime. So I
Yeah.
think that's part of it. Yeah. So good. That was the last position. And yeah, this is what it shows. And that brings us to the end of the interview. I wanted to thank you again so very much. It's been such a pleasure having you. And I wanted to give you this opportunity to, make any concluding remarks or what kinds of things you're going to be doing in the future, in the next year, what you look forward to, what are the things we can do, anything you'd like to say.
I didn't prepare anything for it. Yeah, so we talk about, so you mentioned that I won American, Backgammon Hall of Fame. I published a master class and etc., etc. But for me, it's all in the past. You know what I mean? And sure, I'm very honored to be chosen and inducted American Hall of Fame. Or sure, I'm very happy to publish my book. But this is from the recognition from the past. And I want to moving forward. I want to, achieve more in the future. I want to supply the world again. Yeah, I will continue to improve my game. And I just want to be a good student. I just want to enjoy the games. Yeah, that's my plan in the future.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I don't want to, reveal my goal here and put myself in a tough spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying. And I'm
Well,
trying to balance my life and backgammon as well.
that's hard to do.
Yeah, that's probably hard to do. Yeah, it would be much easier for me just focus on backgammon. But then maybe that would be more boring life.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure having you for this interview. I do some interviews with some of the top players, and I also have some videos on commentary and strategy. I'd love to have you. I'd love to invite you for later for another video if you ever wanted to do that. Hopefully, we can do that. And thank you again, and we'll see you hopefully soon.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for doing it.
My pleasure.
Have a nice day, guys.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.